This is Notorious in 5 minutes. Notorious is a new game by Jason Price. It is a solo TTRPG about bounty hunters. You are notorious bounty hunters going out searching for your targets. Now, I mean, let's just take a look at this beautiful cover again. You can probably tell right away from some of this, like especially this guy right here, the Notorious is heavily inspired by Jason's love of Star Wars. The game has its original inspirations by another solo TTRPG called Ronin. And then thematically, we are seeing tons of inspiration from Star Wars, some of the Star Wars video games, Mandalorian, things like that. Also, before we even dive into what this game is, let's just talk about this awesome format, right? It's a great size spiral bound book, which, as I was reading through it, made it really easy to flip through and look through all of the beautiful tables that fill this particular place. Plus, you get a moment to just kind of really dive in and enjoy some of the art that is inside of it. Okay, but we should talk a little bit about how this game works. It's a solo game. It's a solo journaling game. Now, you're going to be responding to prompts like we see in a lot of journaling games, but there are elements of dice rolling to capture some of those more intense situations that you might find yourself in as a bounty hunter. The cool thing about this book is that it's actually divided up into three sections that are color coded. So, Jason even kind of highlights obviously, you're going to go through the book sort of in order here, but each of these sections set you up to understand how it works. So, the first section gives you the basic rules for how the game is going to work. Keywords, the sort of actions that you can take as a nomad, which is the name of the kind of character that you are. It's the name of the guild, like the guild that you are a bounty hunter for. The way that dice rolling might work. Then there's a whole section on setting up, and setting up, I think, honestly, is where a lot of the fun of this game takes place. You need to figure out where you are in this intergalactic conflict. Now, again, the inspirations for this game are clearly coming from Star Wars, and I don't think there's any problem whatsoever that Jason has that kind of written through the DNA of this entire book. Not only in the archetypes of the bounty hunters themselves, but in the idea that we sort of had this republic versus this scrappy rebellion going on. There's a mystic order for the various factions. We're getting a sense of maybe where that inspiration is coming from. In the setup part of the game, you figure out what your bounty hunter is, the sort of style that they are, the target that you're looking for, the planet that you're going to, the predominant species of that planet. There's tons and tons of rolling that you do and lots of tables that you do to set the stage. Now, it actually matters which type of bounty hunter you are because you get something like a loadout here. Now, that might not pick up very nicely, but the assassin loadout, for example, gives you a precision scope laser rifle and a melee weapon that's about a concealed blade or your martial arts training. That stuff matters because ultimately, when you get into the playing of the game, you kind of go through these cycles in which you are exploring the landscape where something might happen while you are exploring the planet, looking for your target, and then you hit these sort of destinations where you are likely to find either the target themselves or leads. Leads are important NPCs that you find along the way on your journey to discovering the target. In fact, the game is very systematic. You have to find two leads. Once you find your first, you're more likely to find your second. Once you find your second, if you find another lead, that's actually your target. You flip over to your target page and you have your final showdown. But across all of that, before you even get to the showdown, there are lots of situations where you run into NPCs. You have 4 actions that you can take, and those actions depend on sort of the temperament of the people that you are talking to. Are they locals? Are they potential leads? Are they hostile to you? There's lots of cool like decision tree going on here, and really simple dice rolling that helps you get the feel of an intense combat without having to go through a lot of back and forth on whether or not you, as you fight yourself essentially in any kind of fight you get into as a bounty hunter. Notorious is fantastic. It can be played probably, my guess is like in an hour, maybe 2 to get a full session in. The book is gorgeous. It also comes with a giant pad that has all the character sheets you could ever want. You absolutely need to pick up the physical copy of this game when it is available. If you like Star Wars, if you like bounty hunters, if you like solo journaling games with maybe a little bit more of that gamey element to it, this is the game for you. So go pick up Notorious. I'll see you next time. Bye.